Hello and welcome to BoudicaVlogs, where we discuss Canadian women in reality and in fiction. Today I'm speaking with Kate, who wrote the guest post turning 60 on my blog, BoudicaVlogs. For a link to the blog, please click on the description section below. Thank you, Kate, so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Shall we begin?
Yes, please.
Okay, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and where you're at right now?
Okay. My name is Kate, and I turned 60 almost 6 months ago, and it has been quite a journey, and that is why I was only too happy to write the post that you asked me to write and to come and talk to you today.
Well, I'm very glad that you agreed to do so.
Thank you.
Why was turning 60 such a big event for you?
Well, I always believed that when you turn 60, you were old. It was like a signpost, to be 60, you're old.
And you had neon signs flashing over your head?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like, she's old. And of course, society and media, it doesn't help because everywhere you look, that's what's in front of you all the time. Everything is young people, and if you're old, then you're almost redundant.
How has this affected your life? How has it affected your path?
Well, it's taken away a lot of my. It had taken away a lot of my confidence in myself. A couple of things have happened. I've noticed in the last 5 years, say approximately, that as far as people are concerned, I'm invisible, or at least I feel as though I'm invisible. And I've also been looking for another job, and employers, when they find out I am 60, all of a sudden they don't think I can do the job. I don't know why it is that 2 days before they thought I could, but now I'm 60, I no longer can.
You really felt that was that much of a cutoff.
Oh,
when you were 59,
absolutely.
it wasn't a problem, but once you turned 60, that was the cutoff.
Absolutely. This man came, he met me for an interview for a job. As soon as he walked in and saw my face, his face fell. It fell.
That must have been horrible.
It was. I thought about this big.
It's not. Just because you're 60, I mean, heck, people work until they're in their 80s, especially these days. You have to. There's no choice in the matter.
Absolutely.
Do you think that older women are treated differently than older men?
Yes, most definitely. There has been a myth that has been perpetuated forever that men get better looking as they get older, where women don't. I mean, it's quite okay for a 60-year-old man, for example, to have a 40-year-old woman, wife, girlfriend, whatever.
Did you hear about Morgan Freeman and his, 16-year-old stepdaughter, and he got married?
Oh my goodness gracious, no, I did not hear about that. But that's quite all right. But if a woman has a younger man as her consort, one way, shape, form, or another, then it's ludicrous and silly and ridiculous.
And she becomes a cougar.
Yes,
horrible.
oh, exactly. A cougar.
Phrase.
I speak that word. Yes.
Can you speak a little louder?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I know it's a bit of a pain. In your article, you described or said that you had learning experiences in the past 6 months that have helped you reach a better conclusion. Could you describe those learning experiences for us?
Well, because I was feeling so down, I started to do some research, and I found a wonderful post on the net called Vibrant Nation, What Women Plus 50 Know. And there's an awful lot of really, really good things on there that really helped me to feel better. I recognize the fact that I have taken care of people probably most of my life. I was the oldest of my siblings, so I always felt responsible for them. I took care of my parents. Unfortunately, they're both gone now. I raised my daughter both basically on my own since she was 7 years old. So I really don't need to have somebody in my life to take care of me. But I didn't realize that because I always believed I had to have somebody to take care of me.
Well, that's what we're told by media and movies and such, that we need someone to look after us.
Exactly, which is not true. It's just another myth.
There certainly are a lot of them, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
You mentioned Vibrant Nation. Is that just one post? Is it a blog, a zine?
I'm not sure whether you call it a zine or a blog. It's women write articles and they post it, and then down below you write comments about what they've written. They can have a whole conversation going on for days, making notes, comments on the article. and it has been very inspiring and very, very helpful. They have some other stuff on there that's not quite so interesting to me, but they do have a lot of very, very good articles.
You shall have to give me the address, and I'll put it down in the description section below.
I will do that.
For our audience, were there any other resources that you have had access to assist you in this journey?
Well, I've always been a very avid reader, and I've been reading a lot of female authors, principally Canadian female authors, and I found them very inspiring, I suppose is a good word for it. People like Jane Urquhart and Carol Shields, Anita Shrav, and of course Margaret Lawrence and Margaret Atwood. Fabulous. I'm sure there's lots more that I haven't mentioned, but those are the ones I've been reading in the last little while who have really helped a lot.
Has there been a specific Canadian female writer who has helped you? You gave us quite a list. Was there anyone in particular?
Well, I think Alice Munro's short stories, she packed so much in a few pages, and I found her stories sort of made me look at my own life differently, because she wrote about times when I was growing up that enabled me to see how it was when I was growing up that you don't recognize when you're a child.
You're too close to it.
Exactly. And you're too young.
Yeah, of course. We're not as critical when we're young. We're just, oh, so this is how this is.
Exactly.
Isn't it wonderful the way that literature can open your eyes to things you wouldn't think about otherwise?
That's right. That's why we read.
Exactly. I do apologize. I think I've got eyelash in my eye or something. Do you have any advice for women who are in the same situation you were 6 months ago and looking at that birthday that they view as the signpost to the downhill slope? How do they get themselves out of that feeling, that situation?
Don't fall into the trap that so many women do, that because you are getting older that you are not worth as much. Truth of the matter is you are worth much, much more, because you have experience and you have proven to yourself that you can survive, because that's what you're doing. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter whether you're looking after ailing parents, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether your children have come back home again. You're still taken care of, and you're a survivor. And be proud of those gray hairs, because you earned every single one. And wrinkles aren't wrinkles, they're laugh lines. Be proud of them.
Well, we all need to laugh more.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be a much better world if more people had more laugh lines, let's be honest.
Yes.
Speaking on a more general note,
yes,
if you could change one thing about Canadian society, what would it be and why?
I would want the media to stop pushing, or maybe not stop, but mitigate somewhat this fascination and this complete, absolute compulsion that youth is the most important thing. Many years ago, there was a wonderful magazine out. It was called Viva, and it portrayed and respected and appreciated older women. There were pictures of older women, and they were beautiful, and told their stories, not about how they tried so hard to stay young, but what they had accomplished with their lives and what they were doing at that particular point in space and time. I don't know what happened to that magazine, but I really wish it would come back. That's one thing I really wish would change.
I think it's really important that we all, women especially, focus on living in the moment. Because, we can yearn after our lost youth, but it doesn't matter how old you are, you always yearn after your lost youth, unless you're a youth, at which point you can't wait to grow up. And it seems to be the human condition.
Yes.
But, there's so many women out there who are older, but who are absolutely beautiful. I mean, you mentioned earlier that there's a stereotype that men get older that they get older as they get older. I think that they get more handsome as they get older. Well, there's some women that's true for as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. Katharine Hepburn springs to mind immediately. She was absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
Yes.
But I think the other part about it, though, that is, I think you sort of almost touched on it there, that we should not be measured, and I don't care whether you're a man or you're a woman, you should not be measured by how you look. And that is probably what I'm talking about as far as media is concerned. What you accomplish, how you are, how you treat people, that is what should be used to measure your worth, not how you look.
Yeah, it's amazing. There was that back in the 16th century. There's this idea that you are what you look like. So beautiful women had to be beautiful on the inside. They had to be good, and good-looking men had to be virtuous because they appeared virtuous. And I think we still hold on to the stages of that idea even now. I mean, I mentioned in my last video, that action heroes have to be drunk dead gorgeous, and this is why I like going to see action movies. Because hey, I don't mind eye candy. But that is that myth once again that only the good-looking can be heroic.
Yes.
And that's not true.
And as far as women are concerned, only the beautiful are worthy of love and romance.
Yes, exactly. Do you remember the movie Shallow Hal? Or did you ever see that movie Shallow Hal?
Yes.
That was a perfect demonstration of that, because he saw her as she was, not as she truly appeared.
Yep.
And that movie, I thought that was such an excellent critique of our fascination with appearance and the way that we judge everything by appearance.
Yes. So, in short, that is one thing I would like very much to see changed. But that won't come, not for a long time.
Well, I think people are starting to, but it's really hard not to. It's really hard not to focus on the physical.
Yes.
And also, it feels good to feel pretty.
Yes, it does. But you can be pretty and be old.
Yes, most definitely. Well, perhaps not pretty, but gorgeous.
Okay.
Pretty sounds like, something you say about a little girl.
Yeah.
Cute. Yeah. Cute. Pretty. I don't think anyone 60 or older wants to be described as cute.
No, definitely not.
That seems a little inappropriate somehow. Oh, she's so cute. Actually, that's something you would say about a little old lady. Oh, she's so cute. And that's so insulting. No. So my last question for today. For my blog, we've talked about Boudica being a female hero. Do you have a personal Boudica? In other words, a personal female hero who has sort of shown you the way out of this particular situation?
Well, I haven't had an elderly aunt. She was my mother's sister, and she was quite a bit older than my mom, actually. And unfortunately, she has passed away, but she was, I always thought that she was remarkable and always been my role model, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
And she left her husband when she was 70 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I think what precipitated the move was she had triple heart bypass surgery. And when she got back on her feet after that, she left. And she had already purchased a property on her own that she turned into a duplex. And then she purchased another one, which she completely renovated with the help of her daughter and her daughter's husband. And I remember I went to visit her in this new place, and she was down on her hands and knees, almost over 70 years old, with a utility knife, scraping up old linoleum.
There's nothing you can't do if you set your mind to it.
Exactly.
And age does not determine ability.
Exactly. And strength and resilience.
Yes.
And, like I said, a survivor.
Yes. And why we are all survivors.
And one more little thing about my Aunt Jess is, I remember I went to see her. She was at her daughter's, and it was at Christmas time, and she was standing in the doorway waiting for us to come in. Mm-hmm. And she looked absolutely beautiful. And she was over 70 years old. Mm-hmm. She always wore her hair up in a French roll. She was very slim. She had a gorgeous coral pink jumpsuit. She looked like $1,000,000. I was so proud of her. And I miss her. I really do.
Yes, you would. I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I have to say that it's been a true pleasure talking with you today. I hope that the audience, I'm sure actually that my audience has enjoyed speaking with you as well, or hearing you speak. And thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it too.
Oh, I am glad. In future posts, I am going to be interviewing other Canadian women. I want to give some slices of life from a wide variety of women, and I'm scheduling them in as I can find them. I post every Tuesday and Friday. Better than there will be interviews. So if you enjoyed this video, please like. If you really liked it, please subscribe. And come check us out again. As I said, I post every Tuesday and Friday. Until then, I wish you happy reading. Got a lot of new authors to check out. Well, not new, but possible new authors to check out if you haven't heard of them. I will put the links down in the description section for Vibrant Nation if you want to check that out as well. So happy reading. Enjoy the season. It's gorgeous outside. And remember, you're all beautiful. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.